one-liners.
Yeah.
The quick banter back and forth that Charlie Sheen is literally able to do with everybody that steps onto screen with him. Just screams 90s, but the score and the visuals, and particularly the action scenes in Drop Zone, are like vintage. I shouldn't say vintage, but like want to be mid-90s Michael Bay, but not quite there.
Yeah.
Like the closing credits to Drop Zone with the silhouetted like skydiver in front of the sun. I mean, that just punches 90s right into your face.
Oh, yeah, and I think
damn,
the
man,
plot,
that rocket car, that just screams 90s too.
Do you think the plot though is more Drop Zone probably has the more 90s plot, because can you think of another movie like Terminal Velocity where the hero is just a complete dipshit and the lady's the badass? Because in the 90s, like, they got softer. They weren't like the 80s where just a dude goes in and murders people. You had True Lies, which blended Jamie Lee Curtis's relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You had Speed with Sandra Bullock and Keanu, like kind of blending that together. But none of those 90s movies featured just an idiot, right? Doesn't that feel a little like it feels more 80s? No, what does it feel? Am I making sense here? I just think Terminal Velocity
is none whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. I'm struggling here. I'm like Wesley Snipes when he's learning how to skydive. But so what I'm saying is, Drop Zone just follows that 90s formula with the guitar licks, the weird credits, the very murdery villains, the kind of over-the-top kind of cool stuff. But Terminal Velocity, I think, was maybe a little ahead of its time. Nah, it just feels...
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that, especially with how they handle their main characters. They're definitely... I mean, their character roles in Terminal Velocity are switched.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what I was trying to use.
Between Chris Morrow and
Yep.
Rich Brody, yes. It's like they're switched, and that's a little ahead of its time. Like, you don't really start seeing that, at least in my opinion, with the awesome female ass kicker until, much later.
All right, so you basically said what I was trying to mumble much more eloquently. They swapped roles in it. So then I guess that means we award Drop Zone with the most 90s? Everyone's confused right now listening to this, by the way. I'm confused, but Drop Zone's definitely the most 90s. Does that get a point or not?
I think it gets a point for being more 90s.
Oh, wow. So
not that that's a knock to Terminal Velocity, but Drop Zone is definitely more 90s. What is more 90s than trying to break into a DEA office or a police footlocker and stealing drugs? I mean, that is so
hacking too, dude.
1995 Bad Boys before Bad Boys.
I remember the net with all the hacking. Computer hacking was getting big. Remember Jurassic Park with the hacking? Like, everyone was hacking back then. Hackers that we talked about on the podcast. You should listen to the episode.
I don't think anybody hacked anything in Terminal Velocity.
No. It's just... Terminal Velocity is a very kind of analog movie. Just mystery, Charlie Sheen spearing people, certs, a fast 350-mile car, some parachuting, and Charlie Sheen saying, "Wanna slam?"
No, and then further to prove this point to how different Terminal Velocity is from other 90s movies is that rail rocket car. At the end of that, when it explodes, they straight up... Now, I guess this is from Die Hard 2, but they straight up rob, or I guess tribute, Die Hard 2 when they pull the ejector seat, and you've got that look down on the explosion, and that ejector seat goes just whizzing by the screen, and he's screaming through the whole thing. And I guess that's a tribute to Die Hard 2, which I think came out in 1990.
What a great trailer moment, though. I mean, it's directly ripped off, but that was in the trailer, and I loved it.
I love that whole scene.
I got good at swallowing things. I'm gonna have to marry. That's insane. Like, that's just. I'm not condoning it. It's just such a. I can't believe that's in movies. I remember hearing that and just going, what just happened? Why did that? Oh man. All right. So right now, Drop Zone has the lead 8-6. This is tough. 8-6. So I guess we'll move on to the next category, and that's who would win in a daring jump off competition. So should we take any character from any of these, or should we take the main characters?
I think we go with any character.
Oh, wow. So all right. Do you think Swoop could have pulled off what Ditch could have pulled off?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if Swoop is as athletic as Ditch Brody. Probably not, since he's not a
Ditch Brody.
world class gymnast. But Swoop he just doesn't seem to care, and he almost has like a reckless regard for his own safety. So he's willing to do anything if there's even the smallest chance of success in it.
Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't necessarily win the jump off competition for me though.
You think Swoop does?
No, I don't. I actually think
Ditch?
Jesse Grossman do.
Oh,
Or does.
Jesse Grossman?
Crossman. I'm sorry, I said her name wrong. Yeah, I think Crossman wins.
Oh, Yancey Butler, huh?
Yancey Butler.
Because she jumps out of a plane and just grabs on a bar for 20 minutes.
And then she purposely lets go. I mean, what I don't get with this scene, so she follows Gary Busey's thugs up in there, throw her out of the plane, so she just decides to jump, and she jumps onto the tail, and she's hanging out there. And then Wesley Snipes and his buddies are all flying up, and they see her hanging there, and he's like, I know what this is. And so he jumps out of the plane, and then she lets go so then they can meet up in air and turn it into a tandem jump. But it's like, of all the people, why would she trust him to do that?
Well,
like, why wouldn't Bob or Swoop jump out?
Yeah, it's true. Do you think... I like Bob, too. We haven't talked enough about Bob in this movie, played by Rex Lynn from Cliffhanger. Rex Lynn from Cliffhanger. I liked watching him dive into the water. But
Lynn from CSI Miami.
And
just the middle-aged balding dude as a sky jumper, skydiver.
I love, though, that... I think they just played back with the scene where she kicked him out of the plane, then grabbed him. And then,
I think that's exactly what it is.
So you're giving it to Jesse Crossman. Wow, I gotta give it to Ditch, man, because what he pulled off, he had a guy trying to kill him on the car too, saying, give me your parachute. No. So I'm gonna go with Ditch on this. But dude, all right, who's the most believable person in all these films? I think it's gotta be Yancey Butler. Would you, like, of all these characters that you buy into, who'd you buy into the most?
Probably Butler. I would probably agree with that. I think you've got to have a sense of, I don't know, you got to have something special to jump out of a plane every day of your life.
And she has
Whether it's a little bit of crazy or not. And you got to have like a sense of style with it. I don't think you just see a normal, average, everyday person continually go up and, fight gravity every day of their life. Mm-hmm. And I've never been around a skydiver, so I don't know what they are truly like. But in my mind's eye, I see Yancey Butler doing it.
So my good buddy Dan Abel, who I used to live with in Tallahassee, went to college with him, and we kind of hung out the other day. He has 107 dives under his belt, and he loved these movies. And I asked him which one he likes more, and he said Terminal Velocity.
Man!
But he said the parachuting in Drop Zone's better. But it's just I think he likes Ditch.
I can see that. Yeah. I can get on board with that theory.
All right. So I said if we need a tiebreaker after the tiebreaker, Dan gets the tiebreaker. So if it comes down to that, Dan's vote wins it here. So right now it's 9. Drop Zone has 9, and Terminal Velocity has 7. So we should move on to the best parachute, the coolest parachute. What do you think? All right. So what do you think has the best parachute?
So with this one,
5, 9, 14. Oh, we have 16. Yep, so we have 2 categories left. So, yeah, best parachute.
So, this one kind of gets me because I think Ditch Brody's got the cool USA parachute in the opening scene where he accidentally jumps into Bernadette's party instead of the bachelorette party.
Yep.
So, I love his just straight up, representing America in that drop. But then at the same time, Drop Zone has the whole get-up of outfits with the LED lights, the ribbons, the streamers, the formations. So I kind of taken the whole costume into design, and I'm going with Drop Zone because of that. The night jumps with the LED lights is really cool.
All right, so they had all the kind of matching outfits too, and they all look tailored to them as well.
Yeah, it didn't look like Chris Morrow's prison uniform jumpsuit that was just orange.
Yeah.
With black lettering on it.
I mean, Yeah, like it feels like, yeah, I don't know, like Yancey Butler, they definitely tailored all the things, I would say, like the outfits to her. But I gotta go with Terminal Velocity with the American flag, because it felt like a nice callback to, the ski jump and The Spy Who Loved Me, where he has a Union Jack flag.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that scene?
I do not, but I know the Union Jack.
Yeah, so I mean, he Bond, played by Roger Moore, I think, yeah, it's Roger Moore, just busts out a Union Jack parachute, and it's gangster. It's one of the classic moments of the Bond films, and I love that they tried to kind of match that with Charlie Sheen in Terminal Velocity. So I gotta give it. But you're right, dude. The outfits look like they all look really cool, don't they? In those, like, it made me want to buy a parachuting outfit just to walk around with. And there's no parachute pants, and it was the 90s, which is mind blowing. Did you miss those?
I do miss those parachute pants.
You used to wear those on set, I remember. And you're like, what,
I
man?
still try to.
And you're like, man,
if
I
we
get
ever
airflow.
get out of this, if we ever get out of this quarantine, I'll be rocking them again.
And you're just like, we're on set for 16 hours a day. I need to wear some comfortable pants. And that's you and your parachute
pants. And I do my, oh gosh darn it, who's the hip hop star that wore them?
Vanilla Ice or MC Hammer?
Yes, I'll just go straight up MC Hammer dancing around.
All right, stop. Wait, no, that's Vanilla Ice. Wait, can't touch this.
Can't touch this. That's it.
The first time I met
sound
you,
like idiots right now.
The first time I met you, you were recreating that dance. That was like in 2012.
I still try to.
Yeah.
Right now the knees hurt too much, so I'll have to ice down and jack up on some ibuprofen, but I can get it going.
That shuffle was good, man. That was nuts.
I try.
All right, so let's see. We have right now, it is 18-10 for Drop Zone and 18 for Terminal Velocity. So that would give the last one that's going to bring us to is best names. Who gets the points for best names? Now, I mean, Wesley Snipes is Nessup, which is Snipes, like jumbled around, but I don't want to give him points for that because Roger Ebert wrote, why didn't they just call him Pissin instead of...
I did not realize that, so you pointed that out. That is awesome.
Yeah, Nessup for Snipes. But then I just like that Ebert said, why don't you call him Pissin? But you just can't beat Dick Ditch Brody. Like Richard Ditch Brody. Like Brody. That's a straight up callback to Point Break. Then Ditch. Like, that's a great name. Like, the dude's name is Ditch. What was his name in Ferris Bueller? Scud?
Something like that,
yeah. He had a weird name there. And so, I don't know. You just can't beat Ditch Brody. And as much as I love Pete Nessup, that's just not an action star name. Pete Nessup is on the case. I like, Ditch Brody this summer. Like, that works more for me. So I'm giving my point to Ditch.
No, I agree with you on that one too. And I think part of that is, I think they came up with that cool name and they had to figure out a way to explain the Ditch Brody name. And so you just get that random line of dialogue somewhere mashed into the 60-minute mark of the movie where he's like, yeah, it started out as Richard, then it went Dick, and then somehow it turned into Ditch. And then that's all they give for explanation of how this guy's name is Ditch.
It's so stupid, isn't it?
It is stupid, but I like it.
Yeah, it's perfect. So something crazy just happened, man. It's a 10-10 tie. After 10 categories, each has 10 points. So that means we got to move into what? Best moment?
Best moment.
All right, so of all these films, which one has the best moment?
Oh, man. I watched this... So last night, I watched Drop Zone a couple days ago, then I watched Terminal Velocity yesterday, and then I started watching Drop Zone again, and then I just started rewatching this one particular scene over and over again, and at midnight last night, I went down, turned on our big 65-inch TV, the sound system, and I had my wife come out and just watch this scene. She hasn't seen the Drop Zone movie in years, but I had her rewatch this scene because I love it so much. And it's the swoop cutaway.
Oh, yeah?
So good. So they're doing their drop formation. Skelkirk, one of Wesley Snipes' guys, goes to pull his chute, and only one line opens. So he's swinging uncontrollably by one line attached to his right shoulder, one of his shoulders, and he's out of control. And he can't even cut his own string. And so they're all screaming at him to cut away, and finally he does it. And the cinematography in that is so good.
Yes.
Everything, these guys were just doing jumps and jumps and jumps to get this type of footage to match everything. This guy's doing tumbles, and then they cut to another camera angle, and he's matching that tumble coming into frame. And then he levels out in midair, and all of a sudden it just cuts over to Swoop, and he just yanks his harness